Meanwhile, the Patriotic Alliance's president, Gayton McKenzie, says the removal of Joburg Mayor Mpho Phalatse will help to improve the city's financial crisis. The Jama-ah's party's Thapelo is the new mayor of Johannesburg. We spoke to him right on this program last night. Phalatse was removed through a motion of no confidence late last week. The PA's Deputy President Kenny Kunene is with me in studio tonight for more. A very good evening to you, sir. Welcome to News at Prime. So, Thapelo from Jama-ah, the new Joburg mayor, what will he be able to do or bring to the job that Mpho Phalatse didn't have?
Obviously, Thapelo will not be working in isolation from other coalition partners. The ANC has demonstrated throughout the negotiations that it now understands that in a coalition there's no big brother. And it is that position that has given us confidence that giving a minority leader an opportunity to be mayor is what will bring us together. So Thapelo, the coalition has to meet. We are meeting on Tuesday. We have to discuss service delivery issues that we need to address. We have to put time frames to them. So he will be guided by the coalition partners on what to do. I don't want to compare Thapelo to Mpho because they are two different people. But Thapelo has been in council as the MMC for quite some time now. He's got experience of the city of Joburg. Mpho just came in. She was a councillor at some point. But Thapelo has been an MMC, I think, 3 times or so. So he brings a lot of experience, and so I think he will deliver.
How democratic is it really that a party with 1% of representation basically in council gets to hold the mayorship, even if this is it's an outcome of a series of negotiations? How democratic is that? I know you said there's no big brother in coalition arrangements, but is it really democratic?
That's serious democracy. The people of the city of Joburg have voted for different parties, and they did not give a single party a majority. So they were actually saying, go and share power, because when we give it to one, they mess it up. So they have given all of us the responsibility to govern. So it doesn't mean if you have got 1%, you can't govern. You have also been,
you're the least popular option, though,
but
if you're being honest.
But you have also been given a responsibility to go and service the people. And if the other parties that are voted with you agree that you are the best candidate, they are. You must remember that all these parties are representing the voters also. So once these parties agree unanimously that you are the right person to lead, that's how democracy works. So that is democracy.
But who then calls the tune? I mean, yes, the ANC in your coalition did not get an outright majority to run Johannesburg. That's why it's now had to put together this coalition. But political parties, yours, the ANC, Jama-ah, all have ideological positions, right?
Yes.
They all, at provincial and city level, take instruction and guidance from national level. Whose will have to then dominate? Who gets their way? Will the ANC's numbers being the highest still determine whether it gets its way in terms of what the metro actually does?
Remember that Mr. Mayor Ahmad is not the mayor of his party. He's the mayor of the citizens of city of Joburg. So no one gets his way. There is what is called the Political Management Council, or Government of Local Unity Committee. The DA called it the Multi-Party Committee of Governance or something like that. So that is where parties agree on what needs to happen going forward. So there's no one voice that will then tell others what to do. It is only in the DA coalition where the DA wants to tell people what to do. But in this instance, we have all agreed that once we have established the PMC, we will then be able to all have a voice. And the mayor will then go and implement with his administration.
What have you worked into the agreement to make sure that you all have an equal voice? How will it be different?
We are finalizing everything on Tuesday. As I said, remember the mayor is only being officially being inaugurated tomorrow or by the magistrate or the judge, so that he can take his oath. So once he has taken his oath, he is now officially the mayor of Joburg. He has taken an oath. On Tuesday, all the parties will meet, and each and every party will bring to the table their views on how the contract must look. But we have agreed on certain principles. Clean governance, we have agreed on service delivery, job creation, making sure that the morale of the staff is back and people understand what they need to do. So there are those basic principles that get us into government, what the people have voted us for. Those are the basic principles that are there. Then there will be other issues, obviously, of how dispute resolution will be managed, and so on and so on.
Have you agreed on who will get which portfolios? Because the collapse of the DA arrangement basically came down to what the likes of Action SA were saying you as the PA should get, and the DA was saying, well, that's a compromise gone too far, and that's why ultimately that collapsed.
Look, we have not really agreed, because that's why the mayor is not even announcing the mayoral committee tomorrow.
Which ones do you want?
Because we are going to meet on Tuesday, and that is when we will have this discussion. But the principle is we want 2 mayoral committee portfolios. How that gets structured will then be finalized on Tuesday.
Do you have specific portfolios you want to run?
Not necessarily. But we want portfolios that will enable us to service our constituencies. We want service delivery orientated portfolios, so that we can begin to do what we do best, as our president, as the mayor of the Central Karoo, has demonstrated, to service the people in a very clean way.
The Patriotic Alliance has been less than flattering of the ANC in the past, right, since your formation as an organization where you've disagreed with them on certain issues. What makes them the ideal group of people to work with in Johannesburg? Is that purely based on a disdain, perhaps, that you both share for the DA?
No. We said, leading up to elections, we will work with anyone, and we are maintaining that position. So, to us, there's no better devil. To us, as you show commitment to the cause, you respect other parties, you respect what we have agreed on, but you understand our principles, then we will work with you. And if it does not work, we will go and negotiate with the others that we have disagreed with.
So you could go back to the DA still to work with them at another time?
No.
On that?
No. Yeah, we might work with the DA elsewhere, but in as far as Johannesburg is concerned, we are hoping and we have faith that this coalition will last until 2026. All the coalition partners has demonstrated that commitment, and so we are also committed to making sure that it works that way. But I'm saying to you, we are not saying that we are not choosing to work with the ANC multi-party coalition because we share anything with the ANC. There's nothing that we are sharing. We use these coalitions to make sure that we service our people. But we also use these coalitions to make sure that these parties understand that they have failed, and therefore they must also understand how it should be done. So we teach them within the coalition where they have failed and how we can correct that failure. Our president in the Central Karoo is in a coalition with the African National Congress and another local party there. And you have seen the work that has been done there by the coalition led by him. It is because the ANC there understood that let us give the PA, let us listen to the voice of the PA also, not just our voice. And the ideas that came has now put Central Karoo in the world map.
So if the teachings that you hope to impart then in Johannesburg between now and the next local government elections in about 3 years, if those teachings don't translate into the Patriotic Alliance's non-negotiables, when would you walk away from the arrangement?
Let's cross that bridge when we get to it. At this point in time, the citizens of Johannesburg want service delivery, they want stability. So let us then have faith and commitment that we are going to give them stability and we are going to service them well until 2026.
What are your non-negotiables? What will you absolutely not compromise on?
Service delivery. Budget must be discussed by all coalition partners. Everybody must be involved. Budget must speak to the different constituencies. Budget must speak to critical issues that speak to service delivery. Budget must not speak to useless things where people just budget for very useless things in order to steal money. Budget must speak to service delivery. Service delivery, job creation, job creation.
I want to come back to your falling out with the Democratic Alliance, right? Because there was a lot of back and forth last week. Action SA saying, well, you know, you could have been able as a coalition, to save Mpho Phalatse's mayorship from the DA if the DA had been more willing to compromise and basically give you or agree to you having those 2 MMC positions. The DA said no. We had them on the show last week and they were saying, well, they just were not going to do that, right? So that collapsed. The two of you, as parties, from what you've all said publicly, don't seem to think very highly of each other. Why did you even begin to negotiate when there's clearly a clear situation where you're not fans of the other?
You see, the DA is, in its nature, the Democratic Alliance, it's a white supremacist party. The DA, in its interaction or relationship with black parties in a coalition, they have to exert their white dominance. And the PA has been very clear from the beginning. Remember, we've been with the DA in Neisner. We walked away from that coalition and we went with other parties there. In Cedarburg, same thing happened. So the DA, we've taken Cedarburg from the DA. There are by-elections coming. So the DA is a white supremacist party and therefore we understand that. But you go into a coalition, as I said, and you engage at that level of political management committee to say, but you have to stop this if this is going to work. Now, the DA refuses to respect democracy in a coalition. So when we negotiated in January, it was not the DA who approached us. It was Action SA that approached us. And because of our mutual respect, we said, let us go and listen to Action SA. And Action SA said, can we reopen our negotiations? And we said, no problem. They brought all the other parties, including the DA. And we had demands. We wanted EISD, which has got City Power, Joburg Water, and Pick It Up as entities. The DA is in charge of that particular portfolio. The DA refused to let that portfolio go. They refused to give it to us. They came back. The coalition came back on Monday, on Tuesday. They said the DA has refused, but we have an offer. All right? So they offered us economic development and transport, which Action SA is in charge of. So there was an offer made. And we said, no, in the interest of making this thing work, because we see Action SA is really taking the knock. They are sacrificing their 2 portfolios so that this thing can work. We accepted the offer.
So I understand that, right? I understand the back and forth about negotiations, but if you've already, as you were citing another example where you were unable to reach an agreement with the DA, what happened to the good old principle of once bitten, twice shy? If you see them, as you're saying, as a white supremacist organization, why would you think that'd be any different in Johannesburg?
Coalitions are not marriage. They are not a romantic relationship. It is about the people. It is about how do you achieve what you want to achieve for the people. And if you have to be in bed with the devil, then you will work with the devil to achieve that. And hoping that the devil will leave his evil ways. But if the devil does not leave his evil ways, then you walk away. You go to the other devil and you say, hey, devil, let us work together. That devil is a bit difficult. So that is where we are. And we got into these negotiations because Action SA approached us, and Action SA and Freedom Front Plus, IFP and ACTP accepted the offer when PA accepted. They said, no, this is a fair offer. We agree with it. Now, the dictatorial DA, the white supremacist DA, with their FedEx that is full of right-wing old people, then comes back. Democracy has prevailed. All the parties have said, we accept this thing. They come back on Thursday when we are supposed to call a press conference for Friday to sign the agreement. They say, no. The PA does not deserve so much. They deserve one. They must behave for a year. Now, that's the worst insult you can give to an independent political party. We are not a DA light. We are not a leak of the DA.
You don't want to behave.
To be told by the DA, they must behave. To be told by the DA how we must behave and what is good for our people. Because when they say take one, they say this is what is good for your constituents. We will never allow that.
Okay, Deputy Leader of the Patriotic Alliance, Kenny Kunene, good to speak to you. Thank you for coming in tonight.
Salute.
Well, that's a different ending to an interview. If you've ever seen one here on Newzroom Afrika, I'll have more of the day's news after this.